All right, all right. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Misfit Corner Scams. It's the arse nose Andrew speaking, and I am live streaming. It is Saturday night, and it's the favorite night of the night of the week, and that's what we're doing. All right. Well, I sent some invites to a couple of people, see who's able to join. Hopefully, Todd or even Avery. And let me bring this up on YouTube and make sure it's coming through. And you can hear me. Excellent, excellent. All right. All right. Where do we want to start? Well, today's Saturday. And funny thing is, I don't normally get scam calls on Saturdays. Oh, hey, Manuel. Manuel's here. He says, good evening. Happy Saturday. Good Drew. Fantastic, man. Welcome to the show. Glad you're here. I usually don't get very many scam calls on Saturday, maybe one or two. And that's usually it. Almost like maybe they don't work on Saturdays. But man, I got dozens today. I'm bringing up my phone just so I could show you, or I could tell you, confirm exactly what happened. Now, not all of them were good. A couple of them were just hang-ups, but I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 calls on a Saturday. That's crazy to me. And the last time I got a whole bunch of calls, like in a short period of time, it was like close to the end of the month, and I assume they were just trying to get their numbers in. But couple of the calls were good. I had one that went like almost 25 minutes, but it was them trying to transfer me to a licensed agent, and we just couldn't get somebody on the line, and we're literally just listening to hold music the entire time. So in other words, it would make a boring ass video. So I did talk to the girl while we were waiting and had the hold music playing, and it was kind of ridiculous. It's like, just give me the number and I can call them directly. We don't have to sit on hold this entire time. It's like, no, I can't do that. Of course they can't do that. Manuel says, I just watched the video for the cable service. Yep. If you'll notice, at the very beginning of it, they say, we're calling from your cable provider. They don't tell you the name, which is, honestly, they don't know the name of your cable provider. They want you to tell them. Oh, Avery's here.
Yeah, they're providing you with the cable.
That's right. How you doing, good sir?
I'm okay.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just laughing at the latest Fed to follow me on Instagram. Like, really?
I'm not. I haven't been on Instagram in a long time. Is it still a thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just they're trying to make it. Instagram's trying to make it like TikTok.
Oh. Okay.
They won't promote your photos anymore. You have to upload reels. So they're trying to be like Instagram.
Well, I've all but completely abandoned YouTube. I'm not YouTube. Facebook. I haven't been there in forever. I get notifications every now and then of somebody's birthdays, but that's about it. I don't post there.
I don't know what's up with Facebook. I don't know what's up with Facebook, but I'm getting tons of follows lately for me.
Really?
And my page is private.
Oh. Well, I haven't been to Facebook in a long time. Now I know there are members of my family that use it like every day.
Yeah, it's mostly old people.
But yeah, now. My mother-in-law uses it.
Yeah.
She tells me, I said the funniest thing that she says to me is, I read it on Facebook. And I'm like,
I read it on the Facebook.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
What?
John's here. John says, evening all. Namaste Kappa Abba. Hindi for hello. How are you? Am I pronouncing that right? Let me see if I can say it right. Namaste. Namaste. Kappa Abaha. Maybe I might have to write that down and use it on somebody.
Don't.
Well, one of the scammers,
Okay.
I was mentioning that I got 15 calls today on a Saturday, either scam calls or Medicare calls or
Oh my
funeral
God,
expense
you're
calls.
a popular
And
boy.
I don't normally get calls on Saturday at all, but today they were
But
knocking.
today,
They were hopping. And
they loved you today.
hey, Bill's here. Hey, Bill, welcome to the show.
They wanted to
Yeah,
kiss you.
I find it funny that when they call. The last time I got a whole bunch of calls and I wasn't expecting it was kind of like the end of the month. I figured they were trying to get their numbers in. And we're what's today? Like the 15th? It's the middle of the month. I don't know why they're making a big effort, but we'll see. We'll screw with them. I play around. Sorry, folks. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to yawn, but it was a
Yeah, you
long day.
did.
Yeah,
God,
I
you're
know.
so inconsiderate.
Well, yesterday was a long day, and
Bastard.
today was a busy day. Oh, did you yawn?
Yes.
It's contagious. It's contagious.
That night, I am tired. I didn't go to sleep till like 7 o'clock this morning.
Oh, Rosie's here. Rosie says, "Love that. It's beautiful. Thank you, John." BL Olson's here, says hello from Oklahoma. Oh, fantastic. I don't think I've ever been to Oklahoma. I think that's further west than I've ever been. Actually, I think like Louisiana may be the furthest I've ever gone west.
Mm.
I've have I ever been to Texas? I don't think so. I don't think I've ever been to Texas. So, the wife and I thought later in life we would do a lot of traveling, convention traveling, you know, and she can't really do it, and I honestly don't like doing it.
Yeah, I don't like.
I don't like driving long distances unless I absolutely have to. But
There's some things out in Texas I'm interested in going to. It's because one of them just happened, and yet again, I can't go. You know, but
yeah.
oh well.
All right, John says, "Oh, I learned it from a scammer." Laugh out loud. He says, "Yeah, I got 9 calls today. I think they were trying to meet a quota because there were raids recently." Oh, that I could believe. That I could believe. Um, I always figured the last time I got a lot of calls, it was unexpected, was at the end of the month. But if they're getting raided and shut down, they want to make as many calls as possible. I had one Friday, in which it was a Medicare one, and he kept trying to transfer me to a licensed agent, and could not get it to go through. And he said, "Let me call you back when I get somebody on the line." I said, "Okay, no problem." And he called me back like 5 minutes later, and he was still trying. He still hadn't gotten through to somebody. And then he tried a third time, and we still weren't getting through. So he says he'll call me back. I said, "No problem." Well, he called me back today, and he eventually did get me in touch with a Medicare licensed agent or whatnot. And my very first question is, so this is how you guys do outbound calls: is you get a third party, a call center from India, to call people on the do not call list for you. Is that what you do? And the lady was like, "Sir, I didn't call you." I said, "I did not say you called me." And they hate it when you call them out on that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's true. It's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether or not they're actually paying the people to do it or what, see, I know they've got to get some type of kickback. I think one person explained to me that they get a commission on the insurance policy that you buy. It's one of the reasons why when I always ask them, instead of waiting on hold for somebody to pick up the phone, I say, "Well, what's their direct number?" And I'll just call them back directly. Well, they don't want to do that. They want to transfer you so that they get the credit. But the fact is, they're calling people that are on the do not call list to begin with, which you're not supposed to do. And no legitimate company should be taking calls from people like that. So, all right, let me go back up, see what else is going on. Ben's here. Ben says, "I got my first Camp Lejeune compensation scam this past week." Yep, I've gotten 2 or 3 of them already. The very first one, I asked him a very simple question when the guy came on the line. "How'd you get my number? Or are you just randomly calling numbers?" They are literally just randomly calling people's numbers. They're despicable. They absolutely are. Manuel says, "I still get emails from scammers saying I won." They would draw my name and I want contacts. Yep. Rosie sends a virtual hug to John. John says, "Yeah, for 2 weeks I get less than 20 calls. The 3 days, I've got nearly 40. So they're trying to make up for the loss of business due to the raids. That's that's crazy. I was going to say it's insane, but it's not really insane. It's the way the world works.
Insane in the membrane.
Sean's here. Sean says today is my first day of Medicare open. No, today is the first day of Medicare open enrollment. Oh, okay. They're probably going to be pushing hard on that as well. So, but what's so funny? The one guy that eventually transferred me to the agent never disconnected. He was there the whole entire time, which is another part of their scam. They're trying to listen in and on your personal information. And I've had them hang on for a very, very long time. And yeah, so listen, if somebody out there has Medicare and you need to do your own Medicare enrollment, or you have questions about Medicare, or you call them directly, or call the local Medicare office. They'll probably have a helpline or a hotline or whatever. Don't ever give anybody who calls you up claiming to be from Medicare your information. Period. Just don't do it. There's too many scammers out there that you have no idea which calls are legitimate and which are not. And the funny thing is, I got a call today. Avery, you'll get a kick out of this.
Oh, yeah?
Came up as a 904 phone number, right?
Uh-huh.
And the girl starts talking to me, and I'm just chit-chatting with her, and she's going to transfer me. And I asked her, I said, I know what it was. She asked me, how was the weather while we were waiting? I said, oh, yeah, it's great. It's great. How about for you? Where you're at? Where do you live? And she's like, oh, sir, I'm not allowed to say that. I said, oh, well, I thought you were in Florida, too, since you were calling from a 904 number. And she was like, has no idea what I'm talking about. That's because they're spoofing somebody else's number.
Yep.
Every time.
Dirty.
Every time.
Dirty bastards.
Yep. Bill says, Ben, my brother is bedridden because of that water. Curse be the scammers. Yeah. Well, from what I understand, they recently passed legislation that allows people to sue over that. And if anybody was affected, do it. Reach out to the lawyers involved, the class action lawsuit, whatever. But don't give any of your personal information to these random people calling up, trying to solicit you to be part of it. You do the legwork. You give them a call, or have somebody from your family call. When these people call up out of the blue and they start saying, "Hey, were you ever in this area at this time during this time? We can help you get money," and so forth. They're just bottom feeders.
It's just a scam.
Yeah. You're probably not going to see a dime of anything. They're going to take it all. I don't know if that's for sure, but the simple fact that they're connecting you to somebody means they're going to get their slice of the pie. And they're evil people that take advantage of people. Manuel says, good evening, Miss Rosie. Happy Saturday night. Absolutely. John says, oh, have you had the kidnapping scam yet? I've heard of some of those. That if I'm thinking of what you're talking about, it's where they call you and they tell you they have a relative of yours and you need to pay, because or some variation on that. But I have not gotten anything like that specifically.
I'd be like, keep them.
I did tell you the one time that my wife's grandmother almost fell for a scammer, calling saying that Mike was in jail in New York, and she knew Mike and I had a trip planned for New York, but she didn't think we had already been on it or we were already there. And turns out, no, we weren't. It was just somebody randomly calling up and saying, hey, your grandson is in jail in New York. You got to send money. And she was very concerned because she knew we had a trip coming up.
The thing is, though, it's like, I can just hang up the phone and call this person, right, and verify it.
But see, if they scare you, or they panic you, or they make you worry, logic doesn't always compute. Especially with some people. Some people hear something bad is happening, it's immediate panic. It's immediate, what do I do to fix the situation? And they don't think the whole situation out.
Yeah. I'm like, bring it.
Well, there's a lot of scammers that, number one, they don't identify what company they work for, or they tell you it's a generic company before they go into their speech. Like the video I put up this morning, the person says, I'm calling from your cable provider. I don't know a single legitimate business that when they call you, they say, hey, I'm calling from your bank, or I'm calling from your electric provider. They say they're calling from Bank of America, or they're calling from JEA or Verizon or whatever. They don't say, I'm calling from generic no name entity. They just don't. They just don't. But if you don't catch that when the call comes in, you can get taken. And what the person did with me is they said, are you watching TV? And I said, yes, of course I'm watching TV. It says, do you have your remote? And
Yeah.
I picked up my scanner, my hand scanner, and I said, yeah, I've got my remote right here in my hand. And they said, what's the company name on the remote? That's how they get you to tell them what your cable provider's name is. And then of course they're able to find your account, and they're able to give you discounts, they're
Oh
able to
yeah.
help you out. But when they initially call you, they say, we're calling from your cable provider.
I'm
It's like, you
calling
guys
from.
are so full of crap.
Who is my cable provider?
Yeah, you ask them that question, they hang up. So I try to get them to play. I try to play with them.
Technically, I could be like, which one?
Which one? The good one or the bad one?
Yeah.
Rosie says, good evening, Manuel. Hope you've had a great week. I had a pretty good week. Manuel says, thank you so much. Beautiful Rosie's Cottage. Manuel, hey, I know for a
Oh,
fact she's married.
getting
You know?
fresh now.
Rosie says, Andrew, I very nearly fell sorry for the inexperienced scammer during the week. You seriously rattled him. I'm convinced you might have made him change careers. I only hope so. I've talked to a lot of people who they actually sound like genuinely good people, but they're doing a crappy job. Their job sucks. I mean, I had one conversation with a guy one time where I was telling him, dude, you got to find a better job. You got to do something else than what you're doing, you know? And they probably just blow that off, but whatever. I've tried to in the past actually have conversations with people, try to talk to them, because honestly, it makes for good content. Because I don't want to call them out and then have their response be click, and just hang up on me. I want to
Yeah.
actually have a conversation. But I forgot I had one call today. What happened? I said something to him and he said, "Oh no," and then click, hung up the phone. It was like, "Oh crap, what did I say? What did I do to get him to hang up on me?" But it's just,
He knew right away.
yep. Rosie sends a smiley face to Manuel. John says, "Yep, that one. I had one 3 weeks ago. They said Sophia was kidnapped, so Sophia's my cat." I played along for a bit until I dropped a bomb. That's funny. Well, the one that my wife's grandmother got was that Mike was in jail. Oh no, I think when they called her, they said your grandson is in jail, and she did like a quick calculation in her head and remembered, oh, I have one grandson, so it must be Mike. At the time, there was only Mike. She now has two great grandsons, but I don't think she would have remembered that at the time. She wasn't all with it near the end.
Mm-hmm.
John says, or I'm calling from the local police department. Yep. They love to use very generic generalization when they tell you who they are, what they're calling from. And I always find that fascinating, because my first thought is, do people actually believe this? You really gotta convince me. I mean, like I get calls from the solar panel people. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Avery, you might find this funny. Maybe not. I don't know. But the address that I use a lot is for the Scholzbacher Center downtown. That's the one of the major um, homeless shelters here in Jacksonville, in the city. I use that address all the time, just for the hell of it, right? I heard on the news the other day that the Scholzbacher is getting solar panels. That they're doing some type of thing with some solar panel group, and I'm wondering, like, I wonder if it was because I kept giving out their address, especially to the solar panel people when they called.
Oh wow!
And they actually like sent them mail or something, and they bid on it. I don't know, but The flea market that I'm set up at, they did a whole renovation last year, I think, where they put solar panels on one of the major uh, roofs of one of the main thoroughfares. I don't know if it's helped them out at all. That whole thing can be, I think, in general, can be a scam. You know,
Yeah.
but all right. Let's see what else is going on here. BL Olson says scammers who call me usually use a local cell prefix. Yep. I argued with a woman the other day that she was calling from a friend's number. She denied it. I actually had the home phone number. We get calls all the time from that one. Um, there was a call on it that identified as a lady, an older lady that my mother-in-law knew. And when she saw the number, because I usually tell her, let me answer the phone, because if it doesn't matter who it is, I'll answer. I'll talk to anybody, no problem. Well, she saw the name pop up, so she went to hit it to talk to this person, and it was some kind of solicitation of some type. And she's like, this isn't Jenny or Johnny or whoever it was, whatever name it was, because she recognized the name. And I'm like, that just means they've called that number as well in the past, and they're just recycling it and using it as their calling number. So don't be surprised if you get a call from somebody you know and it's not that person at all, is because they're reusing those numbers. It's a despicable practice, but they do it. You know,
Despicable.
Let's see here. Diver Dan Navy Vet says D-Var and Silent Shoo Shoo seriously prank a Cameo Luigin lawsuit scammer a couple of weeks ago. I think they hit him with a call flutter too. Oh, okay, very good. Avery, you know what the call flooding thing is, right?
No, I have no idea. I don't pay attention.
It's like where I get calls coming to me and I screw with them. These are people that will call known call centers and just screw with them. Tagao does it, CJ Scams does it, and it's called call flooding, where they just literally tie up their lines and just screw with them.
Nice.
You know, and they call them, and usually once they have a number they know is a number that goes directly to a scamming call center, they just go hog wild. But most of the calls that I get, the numbers that are showing up, especially the local ones, are all spoof numbers. So I will only call a number back if it's not a local number, because I don't know where it's to. And almost every single time it goes to somebody else, or it goes to, a company that has absolutely nothing to do with what the caller identified as. I've had one where they were calling about, oh yeah, it was the reverse mortgage, and I called the number back, and it was a Medicare helpline. It's like, guys, don't hide the fact that you're using somebody else's number. I mean, you make it so obvious. So Ben says they think Spectrum is a dominant cable provider in the South. I honestly didn't know. I didn't even know what Spectrum was when they first started calling me, to be honest with you. I actually mentioned it to my wife and my mother-in-law. They watch a lot of regular TV, so they see a lot of commercials. They were like, yeah, we've heard of Spectrum. I had no clue. I had no idea.
I've heard of them, but
yeah, supposedly they're big up north, like in New York, New Jersey area. They're not really in the South, from what I understand. And claiming to be from them is just, they're not very bright. They're not very bright.
In some areas there's multiple cable providers.
Yes. Well, I think here in Jacksonville the biggest is probably Comcast.
Yeah, and there's other services as well that you could consider cable, but it's not cable. It's something else, but it's the same thing.
Yeah. Let's see here. Bill says, my personal attorney told me the Camp Lejeune lawsuit is legitimate. Yes, absolutely. But where there is cheese, there are rats. That's true too. Well, I mean, the scammers that call you and want to either offer you services or help provide you services, they usually use very legitimate things. Like people that, there is a lawsuit against Zantac. There is a lawsuit against Roundup.
Yeah.
There is a lawsuit a lawsuit against the Camp Lejeune. They're using legitimate things, but what they're trying to do is either get your personal information or take advantage of you. And it's just, when people call you and ask you for personal information, just say F you and hang up on them. Just don't do it. You know? Alion Abib says hi, and it says hi a couple more times. And then there's a bunch of YouTube. I don't know, is that a link that he put, or is it just the YouTube symbol? I'm not sure. He's kind of flooding everything. So, yeah, that's fine. I got too far on myself. Let me go back. John says, what's nice is that the rare occurrence they call from a number, you can actually call back and harass them back. I called one number 217 times. No lie, I counted. That's awesome. That's awesome. I had a scammer. As a matter of fact, it was the Spectrum scanner that was one of the calls that she actually gave me a callback number. And I called it, and I think I put it in the video what happened. A guy picked up, and I could hear that he was in a call center. And when I started trying to talk to him, all I could hear was just the background noise, the people talking. He literally just put the phone down on the desk and just ignored me. And I listened for like good 10 minutes, and then, or 5 or 10 minutes. And I said, this is stupid. And then when I called back, it went right to a voicemail. So he blocked my number or whatever. And most likely that was a scam call center, but I don't know. I don't honestly know for sure, but they never identified themselves as any type of like company where they give you a fake company, like, hey, you're calling Amazon help support or whatever. They didn't identify that at all. So Rosie says hello to Alian. John says howdy. I don't know the YouTube symbol, but okay. Manuel says, have scammers go around in Lafayette, Louisiana, call from Lafayette police. You have to warn arrest people. I can believe it. I've heard they've done that before. Now, I had a call one time. I'm trying to remember. It was either an Amazon scam call or it was a Social Security scam call where the guy asked me what was the number for the police here in town. And honestly, I didn't know what it was. So I told him 911 is what I called to call the police. He's like, no. What's the telephone number to call them? And I said, 911. And somebody commented on the video and said, what they're doing is they want you to give them the number for the police so that they could have one of their other scam buddies call you claiming to be from that number to convince you that that's the police calling. So, that's so nasty. So nasty, but that's what they do. It's what they do. Rosie said, has everybody hit the like button? Only takes a wee second, but apparently it's good for the algorithm or something. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, like and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. My goal is to provide daily, at least once a day content for you guys. Something that you might enjoy. My goal is always to inform and entertain. So if I share a video with you that makes you aware of a scam that's going on and better prepares you for when you actually get these calls, because everybody gets these calls, great. If I get to have some fun with them and entertain you, then hey, even better. And every now and then you might see a little video of Betsy, because she's a pain in the ass cat. Alian says, somebody send me a new Medicare card. Yeah, that's another one of the big lies. They tell you, have you gotten your new Medicare card? Medicare is not sending out new black and white cards. That's a scam that got started a while ago. Actually, I think from what I've read, that started around 2018 because I'm not sure if you're aware of this, Avery, but people's Medicare numbers used to be their Social Security numbers. And I don't know if they realize that's really not a good thing to have on your Medicare card, your Social Security number. So they sent out new cards to everybody who had Medicare. And it's an 11-digit, it's numbers and letters. They mix it all up. And that's your new Medicare number. But that was done like 4 years ago when they sent out those new cards. They're not sending out new black and white cards and black and white cards with a chip in it. That's just a BS story that they tell you. So actually, I had somebody tell me that my Social Security, and not my Social Security, my Medicare card was expiring in 7 days. I'm like, really?
You
That's
don't say.
interesting. Really? Actually, honestly, I don't think your Medicare card expires. I think if you get Medicare the next year, the number stays exactly the same. I don't think you get a new card each and every year, but
I wouldn't know. I don't have Medicare.
Rosie says to John, 217, laugh out loud. You must have driven them daft. Well done. Yeah, eventually they will just block your number. But 217 times, that's awesome. I think the most I've ever called when I got a number for somebody and called them back, probably maybe 12, 15 times. I think it was with one of the Social Security scammers I was dealing with. And most of those, they just hung up the phone. As soon as I got through, they hung up because they knew it was me calling. So I don't change my number or anything. So John says, thanks, Rosie. I use caller ID block to just harass them. They flip between ICE and Social Security Administration scam each call. I was driving them like a car in GTA. That's good. Bill says, call flooding costs scammers a lot of money. You have to be careful. The number is not spoofed from a legitimate person. That's exactly right. That's one of the reasons why I don't share the numbers that call me, simply because of that fact. They're spoofing numbers. And oh, hey, Betty's here. Betty knows what I'm talking about. Hey, Betty. All right. Hold on a second. Let's see here. Diver Dan says the Camp Lejeune toxic water class action. Call your own attorney for recommendations or call a reputable local personal injury attorney. Avoid Googling to make contact. I'm not a lawyer. Yep, I agree with you 100%. It's the same thing when it comes to decisions about your Medicare. If you really have questions, contact your doctor. You know, I mean, they're the ones, they're gonna give you the best advice out there. Like if you're questioning whether or not you should get one of the Medicare Advantage plans, find out, number one, if your doctor even takes those plans before you just decide to jump in and do it. So same thing with anything that has to deal with lawyers and stuff like that. Contact either a local attorney that you're aware of or that you know. I mean, hell, I know the last lawyer I dealt with was a bankruptcy lawyer, and I'm sure he's still alive. He was a young guy when we met him, so I think I trust him. There was also an accident attorney in there somewhere that my sister dealt with. So those are people I would trust and call. There was another attorney that I don't trust her. I wouldn't call her, but everybody knows at least one attorney, right?
I don't know an attorney.
You don't know any attorneys at all?
No.
Then you're a very lucky man. Actually, don't you have to? No, you don't have to have an attorney when you sell a house, do you? You're just a realtor, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Why was I thinking you need an attorney to sell a house?
I don't know.
That's just a weird thing. I don't know. Yeah. Forget it. Rosie says to John, brilliant, very good. She also says hi to Avery. Hi to Betty. It's Rick that says hi to Avery.
Hey, Rick.
Hey, Rick. How's it going, Mr. Canada? He says, okay, hi, everyone's, and you too, Andrew. Okay, thanks. Yeah, I'm always last. Thanks, Rick. Betty says hi to Rosie and sends some code there, obviously. Bill says to Alian, go home. Okay. John says, I had the same thing happen. They just set the phone down. Yep. But hey, honestly, if I'm tying up one of their lines, that's just as good as wasting their time. So that's always a good thing. Rosie sends a virtual hug to Betty. Tim's here. Tim says, good evening from Kentucky. Thank you very much. Kentucky, I don't think I've ever been to Kentucky either.
We've been through it.
I think, yeah, maybe we have been through it.
No, we have been through it.
We have?
Yes.
Oh, it's right up like when we're going to New York, we have to go through there.
Yeah,
right?
I've been through Kentucky a few times.
I don't think I've ever honestly stopped in Kentucky.
No.
So sad. It's so sad. There's a lot of states I've gone through, never stopped in. Hell, I barely stop in Georgia. I've gone through them multiple times. Rosie says hi to Tim. Betty says, what is the number for 911? Laugh out loud. Yep. she says, Betsy, yeah. Oh, you know what's so funny? And I screwed it up, but I was on a scam call with a Medicare guy. We were waiting for the license, the insurance person, and I'm just chit chatting with the guy. I said something about, we were talking about the weather and so forth, and I said to him, I said, hey, have you seen the video on YouTube of the cat playing catch with the straw? And he's like, no. And I said, you should check it out. It's really funny. It's really funny. And then I went to go post the video clip of Betsy going and playing fetch with the straw, and I entitled the video, hey scammers, check out the kitten playing fetch. And then I realized it would be even funnier if I put the clip of me asking the guy about it first. So I took the short down, and I'm going to post it back up. I just haven't done it yet, but I'm going to start using that. I'm going to start asking people, hey, have you seen that clip? Go check it out. And then they'll see, hey, scammer. I really do think I'm funnier than I really am.
You really do.
I know. I think in my mind, I am a comical genius.
Yeah.
And this is the way to get them, This is the way to get them. And yeah, I know. Very sad. All right, let me catch up. There's a lot of chat.
It's not so sad as it is just cringe.
It is. Manuel says, I had one like that too. It was someone pretending to be from the RS or the RPSO. A guy I work with works for the RPSO. He listened in as we toyed with the scammer. Fantastic. I love hearing when you get other people involved in the scam, or at least listening in on the scam. It's a good thing. Manuel says, "Oh, I love your Betty Kitty on your videos, Drew." Well, thank you very much. She's a cutie patootie, and I had to kick her out of here earlier because she has a tendency to walk across my keyboard. The other cats will jump up on my desk. I have two desks here. One's work desk, one's play desk. This is considered the play one, but they will walk around the keyboard and they will sit and they will wait for snacks or treats or whatever. But she has not learned not to step on the keyboard yet, and she walks across the keyboard. I literally have got a screen print for you guys and show you what she sent my boss one day on Teams. It's just a whole bunch of random numbers and stuff, and he's like, "Are you okay?" I said, "Kitten." Devil cat, but we like her. Dan says, our diver Dan says, you said each and every. Oh. Betty says to Manuel, I knew you loved me. That's Star here. Starbright999 says, hi, how are you? Fantastic. Manuel says, Betty, your kitty on YouTube videos. Yes. It is Betsy. There's an S in there. It's Betsy. Like, her name is actually Betsy Ross. Because when my mother-in-law first got the cat, we weren't sure if it was a boy or a girl. So she told us the name will be, if it's a girl, Betsy. If it's a boy, Ross. We said, okay, we'll go with that.
All right.
And then we found out it was a girl, she said, okay, fine. Her name's Betsy Ross. So there you go. Oh, Jonathan, thank you so much. Jonathan sent me a $2 super thingy for Timothy. Thank you very much. Timothy works very, very hard. In the number of videos in which he has to spell his own damn name, I found gold with these scammers in the fact that they can barely pronounce it and they have no idea how to spell Timothy. I think it's funny, but I appreciate it. Good sir. Thank you so much. Rosie says hello to Star. Manuel says, Betsy, your Kit Kat on. Yes, that's right. Betsy with an S. There you go. You got it. Star says, hi, how are you? Again. Excuse me. Rosie says, I love the clip with Betsy playing fetch too, Manuel. So adorable. Yeah. Well, what's so funny is my wife was telling me how she had been playing fetch with the kitten. And I'm like thinking to myself, no freaking way. Cats don't do that. Cats do not. They'll chase something, but they're not going to bring it back to you for you to throw it again. That's not what cats do. And we're sitting there eating dinner and we're watching TV, catching up, and the kitten came up and she brought a straw. Her straws are her favorite thing. She brought the straw and she laid it down on my wife's lap, and my wife picked it up and threw it. And the kitten goes across the floor and then came back with the straw and laid it right back. And I was like, holy crap. She taught the cat how to play fetch.
Yeah, some cats play fetch.
I had no idea. I've never seen a cat do that. I'm sure there's probably dozens of videos, hundreds of videos out there of it. I've never seen it. Probably thousands. I just thought the kitten was like super special and smart, but
not really.
No, not really. Bill says, I just want to watch Junior's barn videos now. Junior's barn videos? I don't think I've ever heard of that one. Okay. Betty says, don't forget to press the thumbs up to help with the stream. Thank you. Please do. Rosie says, all well here, Star Bright. How are you? Jonathan sends another $2 for Herschel, and he spelled it correctly.
Nice.
I had a scammer earlier this week. I kept having to spell Herschel to them. And the funny part is I didn't tell them the name. They actually called looking for Herschel, and he said Herchel. Oh, wait a minute. You forgot the C. There is a C in there. That's all right. I was misspelling it for the longest time too, but it's actually Schel. I think I had to Google it to make sure. That's how it's spelled. Betty says, yes, you need an attorney for the title of the property to be processed. Yes. There is an attorney involved. I don't think you directly have to do. You don't have to hire the attorney like the bank does that.
Yeah,
that's why I was thinking there's an attorney involved. So
I had nothing to do with an attorney.
Yeah.
I just signed some papers and took a check.
That's right. Star says, I got into trouble. They gave me 4 felonies. They dropped it to misdemeanors.
Whoa.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
For what?
Rosie says, really? We need a lawyer here to sell property. Oh, in Scotland. Okay. She says to Star, oh, no. Jonathan says, hi from Los Angeles. Well, thank you, Jonathan. Wait a minute. What time is it in Los Angeles? You guys are 3 hours behind? 8, 7, 6, 5. 5:50 right now? Wow. Oh, it must be nice still being that early. I don't know if you noticed, it's getting darker out quicker now. And I'm not very good at driving in the dark. So once it starts getting dark out, my bud is at home. I'm not outside. But that drive home last night from Orlando was a little hairy near the end because it got dark really, really quick. I mean, it was dark at like 7:30. So Bill says, sorry, I thought he was a troll. Forgive me. Oh, okay. Well, I never know. John says, ouch to Star. Tim says, I live in Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky, okay. I think if I'm correct, when we go through Kentucky, we only go through like a small portion of it, right?
Yes, it's very quick.
Yeah. There's actually a part of the trip that we go through to Missouri, in which we go from one state into another, back into the other state again because of the way it's shaped. So I always find that fascinating. But
I think that's it goes like Virginia, Kentucky, Virginia.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's crazy. But I've only ever driven through.
Yeah.
I mean, if there was a comic convention in Kentucky, I'd probably go check it out. I mean, Kentucky.
From what I hear, some parts of Kentucky get pretty wild.
Oh, really?
I had a friend of mine whose dad was a cop in Kentucky, and I was like, so how close to Justified does it get in some of those hollers? He goes, sometimes it's not that far off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he says it gets wild.
Did you ever see the show True Detectives?
Yes.
The first season. The first season takes place in the South, And I always joked that that's what my northern friends think the South is like.
Uh-huh.
You've got trailer parks everywhere, and people
Uh-huh.
are on meth everywhere you turn.
It
And
depends on what
there's
part of the South. It's not that far off.
and there's well, they when I tell them I live in Florida or I live in the South, that's what they think.
Yeah.
I mean, we literally live in a city. I mean, there's high rises. There's one or two of them,
Well,
but there are high rises here.
there's New Yorkers that think you can't get pizza anyplace else.
That is true. That is true. And I'm not. I honestly, I was never a big fan of the New York pizza. I mean, it was good,
It's a big
but
floppy pepperoni pizza that you can
it
fold while
is.
you
It
eat.
is.
Whoop-de-doo.
To be honest with you, do you know what pizza I've kind of gotten really hooked on lately?
What's that?
Is the Little Caesars personal pepperoni pizzas.
Yeah.
They're the big,
Those aren't
thick
good
ones.
pizza. They're
They're
edible, but
not.
it's
They're not. But
they're
it's quick and easy. It's really when I take my wife to her therapy appointment, I
uh-huh.
swing past on my way to Starbucks to pick her up a Starbucks before I
Yeah.
pick her up, and the Little Caesars is right there. So
I've started making my own most of the time.
Hello, dear. You're home.
Hello, I'm home.
Okay. Well, I'm on my live stream right now. So.
Well, Mom told me something that will annoy you, and I'm sure your live
Okay.
stream will enjoy it.
Nobody wants to hear you guys right now. What?
Are you sure?
Make it quick. Hurry up.
Mom said you plan to renew my license.
Your registration for your car. Yeah.
I already did it.
Oh, okay, good. Save me some money. All right. Get out of here. I'm busy. So for what he's referring to, his birthday's coming up, and for the longest time, one of my things that I used to do for the kids for their birthday is I'd renew their registration on their cars. And I kept meaning to do his, and I kept forgetting about it. And I'm glad he reminded me, but I'm glad he told me you already did it. So
Cool.
It makes my heart feel so great when my children take care of their shit for themselves.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
You know, some of the stereotypes about the South about trailer parks are true because
Yes.
I've lived in multiple trailer parks.
So have I.
My home has been broken into before, and the only time it ever happened was in a trailer park. You know.
Well, we've had our home broken into when we lived in an apartment and when we had our own house. And the time it was broken into, when we were living in our own house, it was literally our next door neighbors that did it.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, welcome to the South. All right, let me check up.
It was our neighbors too.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about that. Sorry, guys, going on a tangent. When our house got broken into, the cops came, and I was telling them what happened and what I saw, and now I saw how the next door neighbors all came out and got in their car, and instead of drive past me on the way, they went in reverse all the way down to the other side of the street, and then turned and went and left. It's like, who does that? Mm-hmm. All I'm doing is standing out in my front yard waiting for the police, and they came out, got in their car, and instead of just driving straight and going down the street and leaving, they went in reverse, all like super suspicious, right? And when the cops went and talked to them, they told me that their house was being foreclosed on, and they were being kicked out of their own house. And I'm like, well, that's who steals from their neighbors. That's who breaks in and robs their neighbors when they're not home.
Yeah.
Is somebody who's not going to be here anymore anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a whole nother story. I'll tell you guys about it some other time.
You told me about it a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, it did happen a long time ago. So, Rosie says hello to Jonathan. The Great Duke Brother says Oklahoma. Very nice. I don't think I've ever been to Oklahoma either. God dang, I haven't been anywhere.
Oh my God.
Jonathan says hi to Rosie. Rosie sends smiley faces. And Rosie says, ooh, Andrew, I'm sorry. I seem to have started an argument in your comments without meaning to. There was a guy called Frank left a comment saying you offended him with your live clip. There was? Where was that at? Did I already read something like that? I'll have to go back and look. Jonathan says, don't forget the cat treats, $2. Thank you, sir. Trust me. Here.
Some guy claiming you offended him?
This is a funny thing. This is a hard plastic jar that I keep the cat treats in because my wife's cat, the big butt, his name's Benji.
The big butt.
It's what I call him, Big Butt. He knocks everything over. and the containers that the treats come, if he knocks it over, it'll squish and pop open. This will not pop open. I have learned my lesson. Don't leave the container of cat treats out because he will pop it open, but he won't pop this open. I also had to learn the hard way not to leave styrofoam cups with water on my desk because they will be on the floor when I come in the morning because he knocks those over too. The pain in the ass. And then he expects a treat. So okay, hold on a second. Rosie says, I wrote him a reply saying it's not a safe world we live in. Oh, I think I know which one she's talking about. I know which comment. I know which. Yes. It was the video clip from our last live stream where I was talking about my interaction with the young lady at the comic book store. And the guy said he took offense. I'll have to look it back up. And I really wasn't paying attention to it.
Wait, this Frank? Are you talking about this Frank Barron dude?
No, I don't know.
The Frank that's offended about one of your comments?
Yeah.
Okay, let me read it. This is the kind of thing that this kind of thing offends me. The likes of the what? The drama are the exception, not the norm, and the assumption that you were a pervert just because you're a man is no different to assuming and shock. Oh my god. It's a goofy story. It's just a goofy story. I'm just going to comment. It's just a goofy story. Shut the up.
You don't have to comment anything, but if you want to, that's perfectly fine. Let me read the rest of Rosie's comments. I did see it, and I did see Rosie's response, but I didn't realize there was more going on after that, so I'll have to go take a look. He says, I wrote him a reply saying it's not a safe world we live in. He compared your story to racism, which there wasn't anything racist about my story at all. It was me being creepy and not meaning to, you know? And that was what you meant, that your chatting to her could have been misunderstood. You know what's really funny is I meant to tell you this, Avery. I actually went by the store today. I just commented,
you're an idiot.
Okay, I went by the store today, and she was there, and we just chit-chatted, and I just talked about
YouTube doesn't want me to post that.
That's because you're being mean to somebody.
Well, he's an idiot.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just stating objective facts. Facts don't care about your feelings.
That's right.
And YouTube don't post this. I'm like, oh. Well, it didn't say literally don't post this, but
you can. There's ways you can do it.
Yeah.
Mary says, hello, everyone. Do you have any more information on the Avatar computer system the funeral plan scammers are using? I confronted on a scammer. He was stunned, but did confirm their system was Avatar. Yes. Actually, Betty sent it to me. It was a training video for funeral expense people, callers. And it's called the Avatar system is what they're using. And it's literally just it's a list of responses to questions that they ask, and it brings up their dialogue. It brings up what they're supposed to say. And I think it's funny how they'll say the same things. Like if you tell them how old you are, they'll go, "Oh, bless your heart." You know, that's actually in their script, where they'll say "bless your heart" or "God bless you" or something like that. But it's a publicly viewable video out there. I forgot the name of it. Betty sent it to me. It's literally a how to use the Avatar system, and it's in the guy speaking, who's walking through the different steps, is speaking a different language. He's not speaking English, but the script is in English. I just found it fascinating. And Betty, one of her intentions of sending it to me was so that I could know ahead of time what they were going to ask. Like I'd know what that was next. And I simply just want to ask them, what they think of the system, just to see if it throws them. And it does. And I love it. It's just one more thing that we know that they don't know we know. So, and I don't know how current and up to date the Avatar system is, but apparently it's current and up to date enough that you mention it and they kind of freak out a little bit, which is always wonderful.
I was just like touch grass.
Yeah. John says, "Oh, my cat fetches sometimes." Laugh out loud. Yeah, what's so funny is I made 3 videos, one landscape, one, phone size, so that I could do one on YouTube, one on the shorts. And I was amazed at how long they were doing it, how long they were playing it. I thought she'd get bored of it very quickly. And no, she enjoyed the heck out of it. And she will literally steal your straw out of your cup that you're drinking in order to go play with it. So I don't know why. She just likes straws. Betsy Ross is a weird ass cat, but we love her. Betty says hello to Mary. Rosie says he replied to me again, but I haven't replied. It went on about bigotry and sexism. I don't understand that completely. Think he might have an agenda. Oh, I'm sure he did. Not sure, but I didn't want to cause a row in your comments. Sorry. Well, that's all right. I don't mind. There's Avery and I have talked about this before. Todd and I have talked about this before. As artists, you have to be able to accept criticism, no matter whether it's good or bad.
And you got to have a thick skin.
That's right. And I've always said, if somebody came to me and said, hey, listen, I bought your comic and it's a piece of crap. It's the worst thing I've ever read in 20 years. Your dialogue sucks. Your art's horrible. Everything. My first response would be, oh my God, thank you for buying my book.
Yeah.
Because that's more important.
I tell him all the time, it doesn't faze him anymore.
Yeah, it's
being friends with me has definitely thickened up his skin.
That is so true. But it's something that we've all experienced.
Yeah.
So I don't, if somebody wants to leave me a nasty comment, then go for it. I mean, that's fine.
I've been ripped to shreds by some people I idolize.
Yep.
And it's like, if you think some rando can
some person you've
me,
never met, some person
I've
you've
never
met,
never met, don't care what they think, says something nasty. It's like, dude, I have literally shown my work to Mike Mignola and had him rip me apart to my face.
Take a dump right on it, right?
Yeah, take a hot steaming shit right on my chest.
I have to tell you guys a story.
Pardon my language.
When we were a lot younger, we all wanted to be comic book artists. And one of the things we would do is we would go to conventions and we'd meet people, meet artists, and we'd show them our portfolios, our stuff we're working on. And one of the very first artists that we ever met was a guy by the name of Rick Leonardi.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy is just the nicest, sweetest, professional person we'd ever met. His art's amazing. You guys probably have never heard of Spider-Man 2099, but he was the artist of that series, and it was fantastic. He's done a lot. He's been around for a long, long time.
Yeah,
we met him when we were very young, and he was at a small convention, and we got an opportunity to show him our stuff and get his feedback. And he looked at all of our stuff, and he gave us a little bit of advice. And one of the things he said to us that stuck to all of us and made us smile is he said, you guys really have your styles. You've got a style happening. And what he was really trying to say is you got to work on everything else.
Yeah.
Your anatomy, your storytelling, your pacing, everything else sucks, but you definitely have style. And years and years later, like 20 years later, Todd and I were at a New York Comic-Con, and he just happened to be there. And we went up to talk to him, and we introduced ourselves. And I told him, we met you. You were one of the first artists to meet us, and you looked at our portfolios, and you were very nice. And he said, "Oh yeah." And I said, "Yeah." And you said something that stayed with us forever. And he said, "Really? What was that?" I said, you looked at our stuff and said, well, you guys, you really have your styles." And he looked at us and said, "Yeah, it's the kind of shit I'd say." And we were so thankful. He was nice. He was nice to us. And and we all have done something in comics since then, whether it's self-publishing or working for major studios or doing stuff like that. We've all continued. We weren't frightened away by comments from these people that we considered gods in some cases. And he was just extremely nice to us. And I don't know why I went on that tangent. It was comments. Criticism. Yeah. You got to know how to.
You got to take your lumps.
That's right.
You got to take your lumps.
All right. Let me catch up on the chat. Let me catch all the chats. I know it's already after 9, so we'll make this quick. John says, "Yeah, I don't blame you for not driving at night in a city I'm in. There's a shooting, robbery, or both near every night. Heck, it's getting to the point you gotta pack heat just to get the mail. Oh, that's
I
rough.
always pack heat to go get the mail. I carry everywhere I go.
Yeah, Rosie says it's 1:50 a.m. here in Bonnie, Scotland, so we're already in Sunday morning. Getting chilly here now. It's 8 degrees Celsius here right now. Only 156 days till spring. I don't know what Celsius the temperature, but that sounds nice. I'd like something like really low. I mean, hell, around here they said it's going to be cool this weekend. It'll only be in the mid 80s. Tim says most trailer parks have been demolished by tornadoes, and I used to get the pizza from Subway. They were I've never had pizza from Subway.
Neither have I.
Now I've had sandwiches with pepperoni on it, but I don't think I've ever had the pizza. I guess they could do that. You know, they got the red sauce and everything.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, Betty sent me a super sticker. Thank you,
Oh,
Betty. I appreciate it. Diver Dan says, I just bought an AM renovating a mobile home. Wait, I just bought and am renovating a mobile home in a really nice 55 plus park in Florida. Oh, okay. See, that was my wife and I. We had always had the goal of buying like an RV and traveling from city to city, going to conventions and being traveling road people, and it just never happened. I'm kind of glad it didn't because getting tired of driving, but I am heading back down to Orlando tomorrow morning. I'm going to go back down to that show and buy more comics. So got to do it. Star says, how do you get a call flutter? Honestly, that's probably a Betty question. Since that's one of the things they do. Tagao does it. You know, he's got numerous calls in which he just calls them over and over and over. I love it when he gets the same person over and over and over again. Their reaction, they know what's happening, and they get so pissed. It's just beautiful. Rosie says, Andrew, it's under the video showing the Betsy clip. Okay, I'll definitely go check it out. I know what she's talking about. Says, yes, he said your story chatting with the girl in the store was sexist and bigotous or something. Yeah, well.
yeah, that's the reason I was just like, touch grass, dude. Calm.
Yeah.
It's just a story about how socially awkward you are.
Yeah,
It's just a goofy story about you being socially awkward, which you are. You always have been.
I take your criticism and I appreciate it.
Yeah, you've always been that way. It's nothing new.
Well, these
sometimes
good people here don't know that, so that's why
it's fine. But thing is, though, it's part of what makes you entertaining on YouTube.
No, honestly, if you guys are watching my videos and you start to think to yourself, this guy's really strange. There's something about him that's weird. There's something about him. I can't quite put my finger on it, but he's got issues. He's not. There's something like half a deck, type of thing. I tell you guys these stories and I talk to you about this so that you realize, oh yeah, there we go. That explains it.
Yeah, they're and now I understand.
Now I got it. He's a social inept nerd.
Yeah.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, like Andrew is an old school 1980s, the kind of guy that would typically be stuffed in a locker by a jock nerd.
Oh hell yes.
When comic books and Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that wasn't cool, it wasn't mainstream. We were the nerds.
Yes.
We were real nerds, not like fake geeks that they had today. That
I remember having to beg a bully to give me back my comics because he grabbed some comics I had out of my backpack, and I'm like, dude, please don't mess them up. Just give them back to me. Just give them back. I had to beg a bully not to destroy my comics. And I hate to say it. Do you know what issues he had grabbed from me?
Oh no, what was it?
It was a Psy-Force from New Universe. Stuff that nowadays
You-
we would line
Yeah.
bird cages
Yeah,
with.
you didn't know he was actually doing you a favor.
He was. Yeah, but it was Ron Lim stuff. So
Yeah.
back in the day, I had no idea. But all right, let me catch up on the chat real quick so we can wrap up. Sorry. Davey says to Starbright, if you don't know how to do it, get help from a serious tech nerd. Never share it with anyone. You don't want the feds knocking on your door if someone misuses it. That is true. You guys got to be careful with the call flooding thing, especially with the
Yeah.
using fake numbers for the call because you don't because
Yeah.
one of the things they say is don't use your own telephone number.
Well,
All my videos, their calls coming to my telephone, and I
Yeah.
can't do anything about that.
Like the hackers that mess with the scammers.
Yeah.
Technically, they're committing a crime. So
Gotcha.
use your best judgment.
Hambone says, "So what?" I'm not sure what he was referring to, but I'm sorry, we're got to catch up on the chat. So, Starbright says, "Thank you. I'll figure it out." Okay. Hambone says, "I burn more White Widow smoke than an old folks' home on fire."
Okay.
Diver Dan says, "Starbright, don't try to buy it online. It will most likely get scamming yourself doing that." Oh, excuse me.
Get scammed.
Yep. Betty says there are more videos like that on the channel for different scams. I don't share the link because I don't want him to get more video. I understand. That's the reason why I'm not sharing it either. But you guys, it's publicly available. You guys can find it. So Rosie says, Andrew, that is such a great attitude to have. Completely brilliant. Well done. Dude, once again, she talks to me like she knows me. Completely brilliant. That's what I take from that comment. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. My hat's off to you. Diver Dan says, Starbright, you might want to install a very secure virtual machine in your computers and always use a secure VPN server. Yep, that's good advice pretty much for anybody doing anything online, having a VPN. Starbright says, my phone keeps messing up. Sorry. It's all right. Rosie says, just looking online, apparently 8C is 46.4 degrees Fahrenheit. See, that sounds beautiful. It's not freezing, and it's nice and cool.
If it's bright and sunny, that feels pretty good.
Yeah.
If it's cloudy, wet, and windy, that is terrible.
Yeah. We get a lot of the bright and sunny.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could take that temperature, bright and sunny. Starbright says, thanks, guys, and laugh out loud. Diver Dan says, with all that said, watch a lot of scam baiters and pay attention to their advice before ever connecting your virtual machine to a scammer's computer. Yeah, I always get those calls where they want you to install one of those programs that literally allows them to take over your computer.
Control,
and it's never going to happen. I'm going to screw with you thoroughly. It's never ever going to happen. But if you have a virtual computer, if you're experienced on how to screw with them, that's a good thing. But I don't have that level of technicality. Just don't. I would never do it. So be very careful out there, guys. Star says you can do a virtual cell phone. Betty says you are correct. I love call flutters. Star says I got scammed for 9,000. I got scammed from 9,000 5 years ago.
Woo.
Oh, that's horrible. I'm so sorry.
Man, yeah.
John says, I am sorry to hear that. Yep. Clark's here. Hey, Clark, how's it going? The only card I have left out of the full deck is the Joker.
Nice.
Clark's good. Betty says sorry to Star.
Yeah.
And Betty says hi to Clark. Let's see here. Star says, I did 1 year in jail. I'm at a 10-month probation now. I could have gotten life. So I took 2 years in jail, but I get out for good behavior. Oh, well, it's one of those things. Did you learn your lesson? Are you living a better life? If you're here with us now, you've got to be doing something right. So appreciate it. Keep doing what you have to do, and Diver Dan says a new place. Okay, a new place is strictly mobile homes, as in permanent. No actual transient RV or trailers. Okay. Rosie says, oh no, I'm sorry about that, Star. Scammers are the worst. They are. Clark says hi to Betty. Oh, Betty sent me another super sticker. Betty, thank you. She loves me. I'm just, it's because I'm completely brilliant. You know, I need to put that somewhere. I need to put that on my resume.
I'm brilliant.
No, I'm brilliant.
Yeah. That's what you need
When
to put. I'm brilliant on a
there's
t-shirt.
have you ever done one of those self-assessments for work, and they always ask you what is your greatest strength and what is your greatest weakness? My weakness, hands down, every time I've done that, is I can't spell. I'm a horrible speller, and it's true.
Yes.
I'm a horrible speller.
I can be at times too.
But when they ask me next time for what's your greatest strength, I'm completely brilliant, and I have it quoted.
Bravo.
That's right. John says, that's duck hunting weather, cold and wet. That's the best hunting days. Never been hunting, so I don't know. I'll have to take your word for it.
SCAMS, this is the Artist Knows Andrew speaking with Betsy.
What are you doing? Are you playing the video?
Yeah, it auto-played.
Oh, okay.
It auto-played, and then a YouTube popped up blocking me from stopping it.
Star says thank you. Betty sends a smiley face, and then Star says, I'm a horrible speller too. Yeah. Who needs to spell nowadays what we got computers, you know? All right, hold on a second. One more one. John says to Star, as a former corrections officer many years ago, I tell you straight up, learn from your mistakes. We COs in general don't want to keep seeing the same faces coming in and out. I can believe that 100%. All right, everybody. I thank you all so much for coming by and visiting my stream. Avery, thank you once again for coming and joining me and keeping me from having to talk the entire time. You know I can do it, but...
You did that.
Yeah, I know. All right. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. Jonathan, Betty, thank you guys for the super chats and super stickers. You all are fantastic. And we will catch you all later. I got to go make a video for tomorrow, so I got that covered. I got to go through and check out my recordings and see which ones are worth, making into a video to share with you guys. But I appreciate it. Everybody have a happy, safe weekend, and let's end the weekend strong. Let's have a Jaguar win so that I can wear my my Trevor Lawrence headband. Because I said if they won, I was going to wear it during my live stream.
Wonderful!
They lost 2 in a row, so
Jaguars.
Okay, wait a minute. Here we go. Betty says, I am brilliant and I have witnesses. Rosie. That's right. Peace out, everybody. Have a good one. Talk to y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.